just like tariffs take, between 6 and 18 months, we're told, to really feel the main effect in the economy. This is something that you're going to see probably starting in January, and I think it's going to be pretty devastating.
Yeah. I'm also curious your thoughts on Donald Trump's deployment of the military to Washington, D.C. I will read you the entirety of the Posse Comitatus Act. This is the entire law, is one sentence long. It says, whoever, except in cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or an act of Congress, willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the laws shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. Should Trump be going to prison for this? This is apparently a clear violation of the Posse Comitatus Act, and Congress has not acted to authorize this. And I get it. This is really all.
Gun, right?
The big question is this about Jeffrey Epstein, or is this about that in November of next year they're going to try to steal the election, and if enough people come out in the streets, they want to have the National Guard pre-positioned in cities all over America to put down protests. Lukashenko, Belarus all over again. Is that where we're going?
I think it's about something else, personally. I mean, I think, his best polling message is around the border and talking about expelling criminals who are here. And he has to prove that there are criminals. He has to prove that we're a crime-ridden country in blue areas, and he's the only savior because that's what the cult needs to continue to follow him. He just passed the big ugly law that's going to hurt a lot of his cult, taking away health insurance and food assistance and other things. So I think that's the real issue. There's so few Republicans doing town halls right now for good reason. They go disastrously for them because that bill was so bad. So he wants to get back to talking about expelling criminals. He's got to prove we have criminals. I think this is a lot about that because that's his top polling issue, and his bottom polling issue is the cost of living. It's what he won on, but that's what's actually hurting him the most. So he has to distract from other things and get back to his main messaging, which is he's the guy going to expel criminals. And look, there's criminals everywhere, so many that I had to do this. And because DC has got a unique position, with the federal government as opposed to big cities, he could get away with it a little easier.
But he still has troops in Los Angeles. This is all too familiar to me. You wake up with a scratchy throat, congestion, runny nose, and cough. You know your body. You know you're getting sick, right? Well, what are your choices? Tough it out, get sick, and take time off work? Hope the doctor can see you this month? Wait 2 hours at urgent care and have people cough all over you? Or open your medical emergency kit like mine. I just match my symptoms to the doctor-recommended prescription, start at the right meds, and nip this thing in the bud right now. This is not a first aid kit. It comes with doctor-prescribed meds to treat dozens of common and serious medical issues. Strong antibiotics for infections of all types, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, bronchitis, and a lot more. Plus, a doctor's easy guide so you'll know exactly what to take and when. No waiting to see the doctor, no waiting at the pharmacy. My meds are in my kit. Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit. You can get $35 off at urgentcarekit.com/Tom, Tom, when you check out. That's promo code Tom at urgentcarekit.com/Tom.
Well, and again, that was part of the messaging as well. As you know, it was 3 square blocks of Los Angeles where there was this area. He brought in hundreds of people, right, more than you could even put in 3 square blocks of areas. But again, it adds to what he's trying to put. The narrative is that we have crime-ridden cities, and they're going to get into the suburbs and rural areas and get you. Well, and
that was Hitler's narrative too, though. This is the narrative of that's the excuse that Erdogan used when he came back from vacation and there was a coup going on. That's the excuse that Yoon was using in South Korea. I mean, this is what dictators do: is they say it's all about crime and criminals, but in fact, what they're doing is they're establishing the infrastructure of repression.
Yeah, and fear is a powerful motivator, as we know, right? That's how he and other Republicans often get elected. It's not on hope or togetherness or working, and getting things done. It's about fear. So I just think he may be reinforcing his strongest messaging and trying to avoid the other conversations about what they just passed. Because I think when people figure it out, as we know, it's lopsided by 20 or 30 points in every poll about people who know the bill. He would just rather we not talk about it at all.
So the Congressional Budget Office, I think most people don't even understand what the CBO is.
Yeah.
But they just issued a report saying that the so-called big beautiful bill is going to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, if I understand this correctly.
Yeah, and I think also they said 2
Excuse me.
million people are going to lose food assistance because of the bill. I think I'd have to. I did not see the number offhand, but I think the last number I saw was 15 million on people losing health insurance.
Right.
But it's even worse than that on health insurance. If I can, Tom, just real quick. I mean, when fewer people have health insurance because they're taking away the subsidies, that's the part that people will start to see the soonest for the Affordable Care Act. That's why it was affordable. So if people go without insurance into hospitals, especially rural hospitals in places like Wisconsin, they're going to get coverage, but they may not have the money to do that. So that's going to put rural hospitals at risk. That's going to raise rates on the rest of us. And that's going to ultimately raise our insurance because they're going to have to pay more for healthcare because we don't have this in place now. So the ripple effects are going to be felt. The question is, so many of the changes on Medicaid and other things happen after the next election. But those ACA subsidies are the ones to watch because that's the one people are going to start feeling, and it's going to have ripple effects. Just like tariffs take, between 6 and 18 months, we're told, to really feel the main effect in the economy. This is something that you're going to see probably starting in January, and I think it's going to be pretty devastating.